Hi there, my name is Sylvain, and today we're going to take a look at Dinoblivion. Dinoblivion is the second game from designer Jeff Gauthier. Last year he did produce a game which was called Goblivion, which was a deck builder from 1 to 2 players, which was a co-op game. Dinoblivion, this time, is also a single player or 2 player, but it's a head-to-head game. So it uses a lot of concepts that I really like in games, like engine building, tableau building, and also part of deck builder. The game is played from 30 to 45 minutes, but we're going to take a look at the rules, and after I'm going to give you what I think about it. So this is Dinoblivion. Keep in mind that this is a prototype copy of the game. You can look on the Kickstarter page for the final product. So what will you do in Dinoblivion? You will try to beat some dinosaurs, get some points, collect some eggs, and try to build a deck, because the game is essentially a deck building game. At the beginning of the game, each player will start with their own decks, and they will also draft one leader. So basically, every deck will be the exact same thing except for the leader card, which will be different. So you just shuffle it in your deck, and you put them right there. Each player will also start with some meeples and also some resources here. You see, they're double-sided. And you can put the 6 dinosaur tokens on the side of the table in the reserve. Here we go. And there will also be dinosaur eggs. So what we do in Dinoblivion, we're going to have some cards in our hand. Yep, like a lot of deck builders, your starting hand here, you have a hand of card, and you're going to put them on the table. Now, instead of playing the cards 1 to 1, you can put them right away on the table and look what you will do with them. There is 2 different types of cards. The gray cards, which are characters, and the brown cards, which are actions. So what can you do once you play your cards? Because they're on the table right now, you just have to see what you want to do with them. First thing you can do is exhaust the character here and gain the bonus here. So in this character, partenaire, you get a resource here, but eventually, when you'll get some additional characters and stuff like that, you can do more things. Let's see. Some will allow you to draw cards, some will allow you to get some tokens. So you just exhaust it and do the action. Another thing you can do is that instead of using your action, you can exhaust the card and use an action card. So basically, if you want to use those brown cards, you're going to have to use one hand, which is the character. You're going to put it on the side and do the action. Like here, you're going to tap it afterwards, exhaust it, and get a meeple. Again, there's a lot of different cards. Here, I'm going to show you a few of those. There are a lot of different cards. So here, when you play truck, you can use a character, and then you're going to gain a dinosaur egg and 2 meeples. There are also cards with this totem symbol. So those are a little bit different, because when you will draw them, first of all, you'll need to play them, like put them on the table and then use them. So once they're going to be used, those totems are going to be put in play. So there's a tableau building element, because those cards will stay in play. At the end of turn, you put all the cards into discard except for those totems. So each turn you're going to be able to generate here, which is attack strength. Now, talking of the strength, another thing you can do. So I said you can already use the action if there's any. You can also use the hand to use a brown card, but you can also go hunting. So how the hunt is done is that you will exhaust any number of characters that you have. So let's say like you have those. It's going to do a 3. So your strength will be 3. And then you will go in the middle deck and hunt. So when you hunt, you take the cards and put them in the discard pile. So we're going to put them like this. After that, you're going to look at how many symbols here you got. How many meat symbol. So here I got 2 meat symbol. So I'm going to get 2. And I'm going to put them here. The cards will stay in the discard right there. That same strength that you use to go hunt, you can also use it to beat the dinosaur. And to beat the dinosaur, you will have to get to a certain value. So dinosaur are level 1, and a little bit later in the game, you're going to have some level 2 dinosaurs, which are a little bit more powerful, because like this one takes 17 to beat him. So this is another thing you can do. Go fight the dinosaur, and if you fight it, you're going to have some rewards. First of all, you're going to lose a card, because every time you fight, fighting a dinosaur is no easy task, so someone will have to suffer. So that X, which means that there's a card that will be trashed from the game. Also, you will get some bonuses. Here on that raptor, you're going to get a dinosaur egg, which are valued from 1 to 2 here, and you won't even know the value until the end of the game. but you'll get some dinosaur eggs and you'll get that little... So whenever you'll see that little plus icon, you can take a look at the discard and pick up any card you want and put it immediately in your discard pile. So this is a pretty great bonus for beating the dinosaurs. It's going to give you an extra card. And sometimes, like I said here, every time you will beat the dinosaur, you will do it, but some dinosaur will allow you to do it one more time. So it will be a high risk, high reward situation to go beat those dinosaurs. Also, at any time during your turn, because you're going to be playing some cards, getting some tokens, getting some meeples here, getting some meat, what will you do with that? Well, you can buy from any of the top cards of the discard pile. So at the beginning of the game, there's not a lot of cards, like here, there's none. But eventually, there are going to be more cards. And whenever you buy a card, you just spend the appropriate resources. So here for characters, it's usually meeples. You just discard them to your reserve and you put them on your discard pile. Same thing applies for the brown cards, which are the action cards. Most of the time they will require meat, so you will buy it and put it here. You can buy as many cards as you want, because you can use as many resources as you want, but keep in mind that you can only have 6 of each at any time. Also, another thing that you can do is that you probably realize that there are some meeple symbols here on the characters. Well, during your turn when you play cards, like you're gonna have cards on the table, you can take those little left and right side cards and you can exhaust them. By doing so, you will gain a meeple. So this is another use that you can do with those cards. So basically, you can use them for their action, if there's any, to hunt, to fight dinosaurs, to get here an extra meeple, or to activate a brown card. There is also a neat little spot here, which is called a cavern. At any time during your turn, you can take a card that you haven't exhausted and put it into your cavern. So the card will stay there. I mean, you can exchange it on later turns, but it will stay there for the time that you will need it the most. Well, speaking of Dinoblivion here, this card is pretty good because it's in every player's starter deck, and you can use those little dino tokens because you will gain some of these tokens during the game, but here with the Dinoblivion you can use it so for 2 strength for each, so that will make a maximum of 12 strength, which is a good way to go beat the dinosaur. There is a lot of cards in Dinoblivion, so there is a lot of different things. I won't show all of those, but like actions here that give you dino tokens. Here, YOLO, you get a dinosaur, and you're also drawing some cards. And at any time when you draw the cards, you can put them right on the table to see what you will do. Because you're putting the cards on the table, looking at what are the different options that you have, how many cards, how many characters you have to use those little actions, because those actions can be pretty good, but you need to have someone to use it. So if you use too much of those cards, you will get stuck and won't be able to play them. Speaking of here, those little symbols here, when I said at the end of the game you can make some points with that, well, that is a good way because it gives you 3 of those. Speaking of points, here at the end of the game you're going to be making points for the dinosaur eggs you will have collected. Each dinosaur you've beaten, you get a point. Those totem symbols, but those are the ones that are into play, because when you play them, they will stay there like a tableau builder, so those cards will stay, and at the end of the game, you'll score points with them. Also, each left and right side of meeples will give you 2 points. So you have to think about getting your deck as balanced as you can, because you don't want to have just like right sides like here or left side. You also try to balance those cards, because if you have too much brown, you cannot play them. And some of these will be very powerful. The game will end if one of those 3 things happens. So either pile of dinosaur, if they run out, it's going to call the end of the game. Also, if the main card supply here is exhausted, the game will be over. And one little thing to know is that whenever you go past your deck here, you will see stop. So that means the dinosaur will attack. So depending on the level of the dinosaur, either level 1 or level 2 here, you will take some cards from the forest here and put them in the discard pile. So here 1 and here 1. That will make sure that there's going to be some card available either for you or for other players. So, and the cards will run out. So the more you play your cards, well, eventually that deck will run out. So you have to be careful and carefully plan for what you want to do. At the end of the game, the player with the most points will win the game. So that was the rule overview of Dinoblivion. Now, what do I think about it? Well, first of all, it really pushes a lot of buttons that I like in board games. Engine building is one of the mechanisms that I like the most, and also tableau building. In Dinoblivion, with the addition of the deck building element, then you're going to have to create your deck and try to optimize it. So you have to take care of having like the characters and also the actions. So the gray cards and the brown cards, you'll have to make sure that you have a right amount of each other, because if you have too much brown cards, the action cards needs to be activated with a character, and if you don't have enough characters, then you're going to be stuck with cards that you won't be able to play. On the other hand, if you have only character cards, sometimes you're going to be missing out on really, really good combos that you can make. Now, there's also the tableau building element with the totems that will be put on the table, and you're gonna have to maintain a balance, because sometimes they have really, really powerful like combos, but you still need to buy them, and they're put in your deck, and then you have to draw them and put them into play, and they're gonna give you a lot of points. I mean, if you really go on that way. But talking of points that you can make in the game, there's really a lot of ways, and you have to balance your way through everything. Getting cards, I mean, getting the cards with the left and right part of the meeple is going to be one way. Getting the totem symbols, also another way to make points, and also the little legs. On the other hand, you don't know how much points you'll have exactly from the eggs, because sometimes they're worth like 1 or 2 points. The game really pushes you also to go beat the dinosaurs, because when you're going to be beating the dinosaurs, in addition of gaining bonuses, and I mean having the dinosaurs like beaten, then you're going to have the choice to go pick up a card in the discard pile. And now this is a very, very important element, because whenever you'll be doing this, you'll be gaining a good edge on the game, because you're going to be able to choose a card. Talking of the hunt, whenever you'll be hunting with the cards, originally, I mean, I didn't thought it was really like important to do so, because yeah, it's going to net you some resources, but in the end, I mean, sometimes I thought it was better to use the actions and everything. But putting cards in the discard pile will also give you options, because whenever you put cards in the discard pile, you can buy those cards. So if you have enough resources, like either meeples or meat, then you're going to be able to pick up really great cards. On the other end, you're also giving more cards to your opponent. So you really have to be careful about what you're going to be putting in the discard pile, because that's going to be like a main element in the game, just to make sure to make sure that you get the good cards at a good time. And in the same way, just deny those cards to the opponent. So in the end, I really like the multi-use card of Dinoblivion. It really gives me not really a little bit of a Race for a Galaxy vibe, and one of my favorite game of all time is Terraforming Mars, and the same thing. I mean, you're putting cards on your tableau, and you're putting them in. I mean, as soon as you draw cards, you just put them on the table, and then you just look at how I'm going to be dealing with those cards. So you don't have to think beforehand. You just put those cards on the table and just look. Okay, I'm going to use this one like by exhausting the card on the side. So I'm going to use this character to activate this object. Okay, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to think, oh, I still got this guy. I mean, I can use him for hunt now. So you're going to have a lot of choices, and you're going to be putting those choices on the table every turn. So it's going to be really easy to just look at what you have and try to make the better out of it. So Dinoblivion is a game that I really like. You can look on the Kickstarter campaign. There are going to be some comments below with the link to the campaign. So I just hope that you'll take a look at the project. It's Dinoblivion, and it's a game that I really love.